that means if we don't have license, we don't have a quorum.
Yeah. Thanks.
Can you say your name is Licton? No.
Yeah, why not? Well, yes.
That would be fun if we just brought you up here just to see what happens at the beginning of the meeting.
See if we start getting text messages from the people watching.
Did you get wet out there today?
Yes, I did.
I bet. They give you an umbrella?
But umbrella, well, I've got.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we don't play games. People have come up to me and asked me where they can get one of them. I said, well, it's free with the crossing guard job.
And you get paid too.
Yeah. Some of the supermarkets during the winter, as a way to make a couple of bucks, they hire a guy in the yellow coat to collect the shopping carts. You know, when you jump in the car, you just want to like leave the shopping cart there. And they have shopping carts all over, and then you can't park because everyone wants the shopping carts in the parking stall. They'll pay a guy to get dressed up for the nighttime and like stand around collecting the goods. I was at one of the supermarkets in the rain, and that guy who they had wasn't dressed like I was. He asked me, "Hey, where can I get such a coat?"
That's right. Tell them come be a crossing guard.
We are.
Good.
We're on?
Yes, we're on.
I have a couple of deeds we want to sign. Yeah. Oh, here's.
Did you give me back my
Well, here's
signature
Licton's
folder?
deed, so.
Minnie?
I'll pass off, you said you do it.
Okay, great.
All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna run again.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, published in the Asbury Park Press on January 12, 2018.
Thanks, Katie. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Coles?
Here.
Let the record reflect that Deputy Mayor Miller is absent. Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Present.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Here.
Let the record also reflect that Committeeman Delia is absent.
Thank you. Pat, take it away.
So, discussion is going to be the no parking on Henry Street and Cedar Street. It's in your folder there. So the Traffic and Safety Unit has received a request, actually spoken about this previously, to eliminate parking on the north side of the roadway between Route 9 and Cedar. We actually have signatures from roughly about 15 residents that are requesting and agree that they're okay with it being blocked off on that one side. So from Chief Myers, he's in agreement as well.
Gentlemen, what do we think?
Yes, this is Henry and Cedar of the same L.
Yes.
And I was out there you had asked me to at the last meeting. We met the residents. The police department said they would go around, make sure the residents are okay. Frank put together a plan, and I guess this is it. So.
Do you want an ordinance, Mayor?
I gotta see if I have a.
I'm fine. You don't even need a majority. I mean,
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
But I'm deferring to mayor's research, so if there's any trouble that comes from this, then I'm just going to say it for the mayor's research.
Keep track of it.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll email
All right.
it tomorrow.
So we'll go ahead with both of those. Now let's go down to property.
All right, block 777, lot 1. Well, they had mentioned folder in there.
Mayor, I believe we should check with the DOT. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Ask me.
Now, this is going to be used for widening that intersection.
Yes.
Correct. So that's what was brought up, and actually Minash had said the same thing. So I actually had mentioned this to Stager late today to reach out and see what the plan is there. So
When we were there, they said that they're going to need this intersection.
yeah.
That's the only reason- No, we can't. So, send our regrets.
Yep.
Does anybody else have anything for the conference meeting?
Mayor, I have something that I wanted to.
I
I
thought
spoke to you about
his dinner before I kick him out.
I spoke to you this morning about it. Fran has forwarded to me a request
to modify our ordinance concerning front and rear yard setbacks. Right now, the front and rear yard setback ordinance indicates that you can only put stairways into the front and rear yard. The problem is buildings are built out, single-family residences are built out, or duplexes are built out to the end of the envelope, so that they're right at the point that there's a 20-foot setback. They're built to that line 20 foot. The problem becomes they can put stairs there, but if they've got a slider, they're supposed to, according to code, have a landing or some sort of stoop. The ordinance doesn't permit it. They don't go for variances because normally it's a couple of lots. They don't know where the building is going to be situated. Fran has requested that we modify the ordinance to allow, right now the way the ordinance reads, it says you can violate the rear or front yard setback for stairs, but not for stoops or landings. She's asked us to consider amending it to allow 3 feet or 4 foot out from the stairway and 6 foot width, which would be the distance of a slider, so that we don't have people falling out. By code, they can't just put stairs out there. They've got to have a landing that you can traverse on. That was the suggestion by them. Their developers requested the same thing because they're running into this problem. They have to go back to the zoning board to ask for that. Mayor, you may be familiar with that.
I remember this from 12 years ago, 15 years ago, when we looked at the UDO. We allowed the steps in it. For some reason, I thought that we allowed any ancillary use to the steps that was required by code so that it would cover this. But if it's not in there, maybe that's...
Now, the way the ordinance, it's 18805, I think, is the provision, and it says you can have stairs, but not stoops or landings, and that becomes the problem because they need...
It should be stoops or landing that are required by code for the stairs.
Yes, and that's what it is. It's the sliders that they don't have room to maneuver to get out, and what they ended up doing is they're blocking off the back exit, not using it, but then once they've got their CO, who knows, they're probably opening
And
up.
the homeowners can do what they want.
The homeowners, yeah, that's the wrinkle. So that was the suggestion. Fran it's a simple change in the ordinance just to add the language instead of saying you can violate it for stairs but not for stoops and landings, to include that and then give the dimensions 3 or 4 feet out. I ran it by Ally and briefly. I ran it by Ally briefly. She doesn't see it that much, and it's something I think that if you give me the okay, I'll go ahead and get engineering to give their final approval on it, and we can introduce an ordinance to modify it. But that's up. I didn't want to do any of that without a majority. Go for it?
Go for it.
Okay, thank you.
Setting up onto recreation. So-
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What it's for.
Shepsy Gonzalez sent me an email. He spoke to me and then he sent an email. He wants me as the liaison to Parks and Recreation to revitalize it. We haven't met in about 6 years or 5 or 6 years. So he wanted to appoint a couple of new members.
Is he currently a member of it?
I don't even think so.
I'm not sure he can be because he's a housing authority commissioner, and we're limited as to how many, quote, township officials can be a housing authority commissioner.
Right. And I don't know, I mean, when we met, he wasn't on the board as far as I can remember. If he's watching this and he was there at all the meetings, I hope he's not insulted, but as far as I can remember, he was not on the board. But he gave 2 recommendations. I don't remember. I know one was Leon Bernstein, and I don't remember what the other name was. But he gave 2 recommendations. We're looking for the recommendations. I don't mind starting it up again.
Well, why don't we reach out to the people, we appointed folks at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So let's reach out to those folks first and set up the first meeting. And get their buy-in that they're going to show up for the meetings. If for any reason they can't, we can get their resignations, we'll put enough people on so that we can have a quorum.
Okay.
But I'm not sure, is that a statutory or an advisory board?
I
Advisory.
think it's advisory.
Okay.
What did you say?
It's an
Advisory.
advisory board, yes.
Okay. So yeah, if you want, just set it up. Let me know what it is. I'll try to make the first meeting with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Perfect.
Good.
So
Anything
is
else?
somebody reaching out to them, Mayor? You're going to reach out to the current members?
No, could we have someone from the township reach out? Like either Mrs.
I
Kay
don't
or
have a problem,
someone
I
from your
have the
office?
list, I have the list,
Yeah.
if you want me to give it to Mrs. K, I can give it to Mrs. K, or I can do it myself, whatever works for you.
Either way works.
Okay.
Is Seeger around tonight?
No.
What's that?
You not gonna do that one? Okay. I was jumping at it.
Okay. Nobody has anything else? We have a motion to go into closed session?
So made?
Do we need this one?
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, we will not be conducting any other business if we come out of closed session before 7:30.